YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back with the last of the defensive position rankings with the safeties for the upcoming 2018 season. Going through my rankings as well as our very own Danny Provolone's rankings. So two separate top 10s. We've been pretty similar on most of these position groups, but this one, pretty different, I think. The top, maybe somewhat similar, but throughout the rest of the top 10, it's pretty different. So I'll show you my top 10, then Danny Provolone's top 10. After I get through mine, I'll go over the guys that just missed the cut. And I want to make sure everyone knows this is based off going forward for this upcoming season, not based off last year. Production from last year factors in, but for these safety rankings specifically, you must know that it's not based off last season. We might have some interesting ones here, some hot takes. We'll see. But on Twitter, I tweet out polls asking who you guys think the best player in each of these position groups are. You guys voted for Harrison Smith of the Vikings by a pretty big margin there. So pretty simple to you guys. Let's see if he's our number one safety. Number 10 safety, in my opinion, for this year. Not based off last year. He wouldn't quite make the cut if it was last year, but I expect big improvements going forward year to year for this guy. It's Jamal Adams of the Jets. I was very high on him coming out of the draft a year ago. I think he's going to have a heck of a season. I think this video for next year, going to the next season, he's going to be much higher. And here's a little bit of a hot take here, a little bit of a bold prediction. I think Jamal Adams will be the best safety in football in the future. When? Maybe 4 years down the line. I think we're looking at Jamal Adams possibly being the best safety in the NFL. So we'll see if I'm right on that one. I like his game a lot. Not going to get a ton of interceptions, but he's more that lockdown safety, going to do everything right. Everything you ask him to do, he's going to do it. He's going to stop the player from making the catch. So maybe not super flashy on the stat sheet, but I like Jamal Adams a lot. He comes in at number 10. Number 9 is Keanu Neal of the Falcons. Very impressive year last year. Plays somewhat similar to that style of play that I just explained about Jamal Adams. He's more of that lockdown guy. He's going to make sure you don't catch the ball. Very good in run support. Can really hit. Solid in pass coverage too. But at first, maybe people were a little iffy about him being a first-round pick of the Falcons. Maybe it was a little bit of a surprise pick. Was he living up to it? I think he's finally starting to break out. I shouldn't say finally. He's still young. Hasn't been in the league that long. But this last year was very good. And can we keep seeing the improvement? That would be very impressive. So he comes in at number 9, like his potential. Number 8 on my safety list is going to be Devon McCrory. It's hard to see him down here at 8. He's been a top safety for a while. Saw a little bit of a decline last year. I think for the most part, a lot of these other guys are really progressing, really getting better, a lot of potential. So McCrory, maybe not his best year, but still pretty solid, still a good safety, very good veteran. So obviously, if we're talking like 2 years ago, he's like top 5, top 3 possibly. But down here at 8, still makes the top 10. Number 7 on the list is going to be Adrian Amos of the Chicago Bears. Very impressive season. If we're talking just off last year, I think he's easily top 5, but kind of came out of nowhere. So can I trust him? Can we get the same or better play? I think it's definitely a possibility, but for me, it's kind of like a wait and see. Let's see if he does it again, because it kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting him to be that good, to be honest, but very impressive. Another one of those shutdown guys, really could do it all. So guy with a lot of room, a lot of potential too, so really can climb this board. I got him at 7 for now. We're going to see how well he does this season. Number 6 on the safety list is going to be Rashad Jones of the Dolphins. I think for a veteran guy, I think maybe a little underrated. I think this guy's been a beast these last few years. Very impressive. I don't see any reason why he'll slow down this year. Maybe we'll start to see a decline because he's up there in age compared to some of the other guys. But I still got him in this range. I got him at number 6 on my safety list. We're on to number 5. Number 5 is Jordan Poyer of the Bills. Very impressive season. Really lit up the stat sheet and played very well. Bills had a pretty good duo at safety, and I think I'm different than most people from what I've seen. I think Jordan Poyer is the better of the two safeties there in Buffalo, but we'll see. I've always been a big believer in him. Never really got a chance, maybe because he was at times considered undersized or injury prone. I really liked him coming out of Oregon State. I thought he was underrated, and he's finally getting the chance to shine, and he's doing it. Very impressive guy. Number 4 safety for me. This is where we're getting to the big boys here. But maybe a guy you want to see a little more of, but such an elite season last year that it wasn't really a problem for me to put him up here. It's Kevin Byard of the Titans at the top of the NFL in interceptions, really just attacking the ball very well last year, and he's young, and just his time on an NFL defense coming from Middle Tennessee is just been impressive. So with more time, I think he can be. Maybe it's on a stretch that he'll be the future number 1 safety, but so impressive last year. Maybe you want to see a little more because he kind of came out of nowhere as well, but pretty confident that he will be a top safety in the NFL. So he comes in at number 4. Number 3, 2 versus 3 is a battle for me, but there's a reason there's a reason that I found that made me split them up. Number 3 is Earl Thomas, maybe viewed as the best safety at one point not too long ago. He can play this year, I think, like the number 1 safety in football. I don't think that's a stretch. Really, it's a little bit of a messy situation. He wants to leave. We heard that multiple times. I don't think that's BS or anything. He wants to leave. He may be gone after this year. Not too happy. Cam Chancellor's done there. Lost a lot of not just secondary defensive players in general. So how much does that factor into his play? He's still going to play at a top level, but I had to put him at 3. And then number 2 is going to be Eric Berry of the Chiefs. Just like Earl Thomas could say he's been the number 1 safety in football the last how many years. Last year, obviously, he didn't play because the injury, pretty bad injury, but it happened early. He had a lot of time to rest, a lot of time to get in shape. You don't doubt Eric Berry. You can't doubt him. Just a heck of an athlete, heck of a football player for so many years now. So fun to watch, even coming out of college, coming out of Tennessee. So I'm confident about him. I got a feeling about him, so I put him at number 2. Number 1 on the list is, I agree with you guys here, is Harrison Smith of the Vikings. I don't think it's close. I mean, when you guys voted, it was pretty wide margin there, pretty big margin. So I think Harrison Smith's number 1 safety in football. I mean, some safeties just play their position, whether it's free, whether it's strong. Some safeties can at times play center field. Some you'll see line up in the box. Some you'll see press at the line, whether they're covering a tight end, whether they're covering a wide receiver. Some will blitz, get sacks, make big run stops at the line. All those things I just explained there, that some safeties have some of them. Harrison Smith has every single one of them. My favorite trait is his play reading ability. This guy, a lot of times you see linebackers that have that trait. It's really rare to come across, but he has it as a safety, and it's very impressive. I believe he's the best player on that very good Vikings team. Not best defensive player, best player overall. So very impressive season out of him. I think he had a season that could have got him the defensive MVP. Not that Aaron Donald didn't deserve it. Very good season on him. He deserved it. But I think I mentioned that about Bobby Wagner as well. I thought he played well enough to get the award. Somebody just edged him out, which was Aaron Donald. But that's my top 10. Guys who just missed the cut before we see if Danny Provolone had him. A lot of guys. Eric Weddle, he's a future Hall of Famer, been very impressive. I'm kind of predicting a little bit of a decline, but more of the younger guys in the top 10, maybe just better. Same situation with Glover Quinn, maybe been top 5 safety the last few years, maybe not last year. We saw a little bit of a decline. Can it continue? But obviously very good safety. Tyrone Matthew has been a hell of an athlete, hell of a football player, but he's played corner before. He's played safety. He's played in the box. I kept him out for that reason, but those positions are very important. Just what will he play? Micah Hyde, like I mentioned, the duo, the Bills, very good. Micah Hyde just missed the cut. I seen him. I mean, he's struggled at the actual position in the past. Not last year. Great season. So it's another guy I kind of want to see more of. I really thought Poyer was better. I think most people think Hyde's better, but I really think Poyer's better and will be better this year. Malcolm Jenkins, if it's based off last season, easily top 10. Another guy, could we see a decline? I think more, like I said, the top guys I had in the top 10, I think will progress mainly, or they'll be better, is what I'm trying to say. Andrew Sendejo, the other Viking safety, I think in terms of defensive MVP, he was probably that guy of that Saints-Vikings playoff game, and he got knocked out of that game, and we seen once he got knocked out, that defense kind of fell apart. So He's a very good safety. Usually used to be just a run-stopping guy, but we've seen him open up in the passing game. Landon Collins is an interesting one. I think almost everybody would probably put him in their top 10. I like the guy. I've talked about this before. I don't like Landon Collins this game. I just compared to everybody else. He's good. I don't think he's top 10. I talked about it before. People hating on me. I'm not a Giants hater. I have no reason to hate the Giants. I have no reason to hate Landon Collins. I am not a huge fan of his game. I think I don't want to go too far into it. People are going to hate me. But Landon Collins, I think a little bit on the overrated side is what I'm saying. I talked about this before. Good player. Still room to grow. I just really don't like his game. Maybe more of a linebacker is what he should be, in my opinion. Nobody else thinks that. So it's another debate, another argument that I'm probably going to get into with people. But I don't put him in my top 10. I can go on and on, but anybody else that I missed, that's mainly the guys that just missed the cut there. Even though what I just said about Landon Collins, he did just miss the cut, even though I didn't really consider putting him in the top 10. He's just outside, so still a good safety. But on to Danny Provolone's ranking. Let's see what he's got. I know we're a little bit different here compared to other position rankings. As we can see, we see the first 5 that he's got, the bottom 5. We already got 4 guys that I didn't have in there. Malcolm Jenkins at 10, Micah Hyde at 9, Landon Collins at 8, Devon McCrory 7. I had him. Tyrone Matthew, he's a big Tyrone Matthew fan. Just overall, as a football player, yeah, Tyrone Matthew is definitely deserving. Just is he going to play a corner position, safety position, more of a slot position? I think he'll play safety, but there's also a good chance we'll see him more in the box. But there's really nothing wrong with that excellent player. That went away real quick. Number 5, Adrian Amos. He was pretty high in his last season. Last season, he's definitely top 5. Could get even better. We want to see more of him. Kevin Byard, same situation, but so many interceptions, you got to put him up here. And then he swapped Earl Thomas, Eric Berry. Nothing wrong with that. I pretty much had to find a reason to split those 2 up. And number 1, Harrison Smith. No surprise there. So a little bit different there towards that 6, or you can even say 5. No, 2 off in that spot. 6 through 10 range, pretty different. At the top, pretty similar. But that'll do it for this one. We got offensive line unit rankings to go over. Then we'll go just offensive players, defensive players, then NFL players in general. Then we'll start predicting team by team records of the season, how they'll do, who will win, how the playoffs will work out, and then who will win the Super Bowl. We got a lot to cover still before this NFL season starts, so can't wait. Stay tuned for all that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Our subscriber goal is 10K subs, so please help us out. It'd be much appreciated. But that'll do it for this one. Goodbye.